I'm competitive. I'm also incredibly passionate about the environment. I've spent years passionately pursuing unique independent experiences with the environment. I completed an independent study researching the rates of decomposition of supermarket waste. I worked on a Cornell University study examining the presence of invasive species in a local creek, and I collaborated with local businesses to increase their sustainability. Through this, I've attempted to answer questions about what is that puzzle me and the world around me. Why do people refuse to care about the environment? Why is it a unique quality of mine to passionately pursue its protection? What can we do? What can I do to get people to reuse, compost, decrease their consumption, and do more for the environment? Instinctually, these questions fill my mind as I sit in lunch every day, surrounded by peers who eat half of their processed lunch and throw the rest away on a styrofoam tray. Every time I see that, I know that what they're doing is wrong, and I want to tell them and educate them. But until last summer, I never tied in my third defining characteristic. I love talking and teaching. My passions had always been mine. I had networked my way to connections with the mayor and business owners, but I hadn't shared my values with the world. Success. We all want to be the best, right? We want to be the best student, the fastest athlete, the most innovative inventor, the most insightful conversationalist. Whatever it is that we do, we want to find success to the highest degree. When we get there, someone will inevitably follow, and we'll once again have to redefine what success means. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the first ever satellite in space. Seeing what could be, the United States a year later launched Explorer 1, followed by solar-powered Vanguard and Project SCORE, the first ever communication satellite. Through this, our world was inundated in the functionality of satellites. Not only did they meet the goals of our nation at that day, they provided incredible social and commercial functions as well. The satellite television and long-distance communication that we take for granted today came as a result of this. Success. The space race has manifested itself in my life in a series of events, the first of which occurred in our nation's capital, at the Washington Youth Summit on the Environment. There, I found myself surrounded by peers with shining resumes and incredible world impacts. One of those peers was Jackson Hinkle, who I'll talk more about later. At the time, I had established myself as passionate about the environment. I had spent a week earlier, moving queen bees in an attempt to resist the varroa mite, and I had presented my independent composting research findings at a science fair at Hobart and William Smith colleges. But I was not content. I knew that no matter how logical composting was, if I didn't share its importance with the world and get people to take part, none of my efforts mattered. So on the Hill, I met this peer right here. This is Jackson Hinkle. You may know about him as Teen Vogue's Young Environmentalist of the Year. You may know about his work to ban plastic bags and bottles in his school district or implement solar there. You may know about his advocacy for the safe storage of nuclear waste. Meeting Jackson opened my eyes to my failure to share my values with the world. But I did not give up. I did not step down and consider myself a failure. I decided I was going to change my world. And so I did. By modeling his school-based club with a widespread impact, I created a club of my own. But where his was coined Team Zissou, focusing on advocacy and lifestyle, I titled my group the Eco Geeks Environmental Education Club, focusing on education for primary and elementary students. Through this, my impact skyrocketed. Not only did I work with 15 plus peers to teach thousands of students about the environment, recycling, green energy, and sustainability, we taught these students, kindergarten through 5th grade, in assemblies about sustainability over the holidays, the use of a zero-waste system in lunchrooms, and we helped them construct compost bins in their classrooms. Our impact did not stop there. We worked with adults. The facilities team at our high school helped us build compost bins. The district office and superintendent of finance helped us procure grant funding. The food services teams allowed us to audit the waste in the cafeterias, and the principals of the schools helped us implement composting systems in their lunchrooms. By looking at Jackson's path, I was able to shoot for the stars and find my potential. I was able to share my values with the world, create a lasting infrastructure for sustainability, and gain confidence in my future endeavors. Success. In 1961, the Soviet Union launched Yuri Gagarin into space, the first ever man there. Soon after, the United States sent Alan Shepard in the first piloted spaceflight, which was followed by Volkshot 1 and 2, the first multi-person cruise, and the Gemini missions. Through this, we realized that humans could spend time in space, and that time could be extended if they had water. NASA developed water filtration to meet this demand, and through that, not only did they allow astronauts to stay in space longer, it provided people in poverty and underdeveloped areas of the world with clean drinking water where before they didn't have any. Success. At the aforementioned Summit on the Environment, I met another peer, Catherine McConnell. Kate blew my mind. Not only was she an advocate for women in science, she would be attending the Girls Nation Conference just a week or so later. She also was passionate about both political science and astrophysics. She took these passions and desires and brought them back home, where she founded a group called You Go Girl OK in her home state of Oklahoma. This group of empowered women worked to organize protests, rallies, and community events advocating for climate awareness, women's rights, and equality. Kate shared this to me through her use of social media and her pride in her group of women. She inspired people to do in their communities and inspired me to share the work of my club with my community to get them to do as well. On YouTube, you can find a video called The Parent's Guide to Eco-Friendly Meal Prep. This video was created by my eco-geeks. This video collaborates with parents to get them to increase their students' sustainability. A lot of our work in classrooms teaches students. We teach them to be passionate about the environment and the necessity for protection. But they go home and share this passion with their parents, and until their parents stop sending plastic bags and bottles, disposable packaging, and excess food, the students aren't actually practicing the sustainability that we teach them. Through utilizing this platform, we're able to communicate what the parents need to do effectively. And through this, our impact has increased incredibly. Additionally, you can find the Eco Geeks on Instagram. We utilize this platform because of our large base of peers that are also there. Through this, we can share updates, tips, and events with these peers, and through showing our actions, we inspire them to take action of their own. Success. After Luna 10's orbit of the moon, the United States took one giant leap and landed Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the moon. This was a mere aspiration just decades before, and through striving towards that which could be, we were able to achieve it. After landing humans on the moon and the space race that induced this, we found ourselves with more innovation. The Black & Decker Apollo core sampling drills led to the ubiquitous cordless vacuum cleaner. The rubber made by Goodyear for the Viking Mars lander led to a tread that had 10,000 more miles of life. Success. A trip to the moon in my life occurred at the College of the Atlantic in Bar Harbor, Maine, where I found myself surrounded by 20 or so peers who discussed the Library of Babel, learned about the power to analyze programs, and developed an understanding of nature's ability to form connections. I had established my eco-geeks well at that time and was proud of all the work we were doing, but I, of course, was ambitious. I wanted more, but with all the weight of coordination and logistics on my shoulders, I could not achieve the success that I wanted. There, surrounded by like-minded peers and incredible teachers like Bonnie Tai, I learned about the power of collaboration. In Bonnie's class, Qualitative Program Evaluation Methods, I learned about the power of collaboration through the analysis of a program called Success. This program was a farm-to-school collaboration taught by College of the Atlantic students that worked in elementary schools to teach them about the environment as the eco-geeks do. Through analyzing its success, I was able to understand how I could increase my impact without increasing the burden upon myself. When I returned home, I worked with my eco-geeks, a group of 6 or so of them, and we formed a leadership team. This group had a person working on grant funding and finances, someone working on curriculum development, the coordination and logistics behind the lessons and assemblies, and of course, a social media specialist. We were able to find success more maintainable and enjoyable, and taught an increased number of lessons. Additionally, we created an infrastructure that will allow the club to continue successfully after I graduate this June. Success. So what could you be? We could be the society that finally addresses the problems our environment's facing every day. We could create an eco-nation that mimics the efforts of Finland, Sweden, Denmark, and Iceland, the Environmental Performance Index's top performers. We could raise a generation of instinctually sustainable kids who raise their children the same way. We could collaborate with artists, scientists, and businessmen to work with CEOs, senators, and engineers, and effectively communicate our ideas with peace. We could be a society of game changers, problem solvers, doers. So take a moment to define what is in your life, what you are, what you do, and then dream. What could be? What could you be? What could you do? Find someone who is what could be, and use their success to inspire yours. Who knows? You just might end up on the moon. Thank you.